What's up, guys? It's Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, I don't know what to do with my hands, so I'm waving around a lot. But of course, if you're new to these, thank you for tuning in, listening to me talk about these workouts. This is going to be Sunday, January 5th. We're going to see power on the treads, rower, weight floor, so a true power day. This will also repeat on Thursday, January 23rd. We'll talk about whole template, break down the treads, rowers, weight floor, talk about the 3G, and then get you on out of here. All right, so for the key concepts today, on the treads, we're gonna see 2 blocks, and it's all about power, and your goal is to increase your push and your all out throughout your time on the treads. On the rower, we have all out row distance challenge. Every time you go all out, can you stay within 3 seconds of your previous time? And then on the floor, you have 1 block featuring explosive exercises that work one side of your body at a time, so unilateral. All right, you will need benches out for today's workout, so just be aware of that. When we look at the tread side, we're gonna see 2 blocks. Block 1's 15 minutes. There's a 2-minute walk recovery, get back to base. And then block 2 is 6.5 minutes. They're gonna follow the same format. So you're gonna have a section of work, a 1-minute recovery, section of work, a 1-minute walk recovery, so on and so forth. So in block 1, we're gonna see a total of 4 rounds, and the rounds of work are exactly the same. It's a 1-minute push, base, all out. That's it. Everything's a minute, including the walk recoveries. Timing wise, very easy to do. The intention here and the reminder is the goal is to increase the push and the all out every round. So the best way to kind of set this up for members is obviously give them that heads up that, hey, we are looking to increase push and all out, start on the conservative end, and then as we go through it, that way you have room to grow, bump it up. So the first round of work kind of sets the intentions and the expectations. 1-minute push, power walkers 6% or greater, joggers and runners, I'd start them right about 1, maybe up to 1.5 over base. Bikes and striders, as always, about 3 gears over base. First 2 rounds or so, they could probably maintain their base here. And then when they hit the 1-minute all out, once again, the first one is probably going to be the least intense one since the goal is to increase. It's going to be 1 minute, power walkers 10 plus, joggers, runners, at least 2 over their base speed, bike strider, at least 6 over their base gear. And they're going to repeat that process a total of 4 times. So first one kind of sets it, the idea of practice, perfect, perform, and then a bonus perform again. They do call out, since we are trying to increase the push and the all out, we could increase the dip in between, and we could have people lower base if they need that extra recovery to make sure they could perform on the all out. And of course, when it comes to that 1-minute walk recovery, they just did 3 minutes of work. Hopefully they need that full minute to walk. They drop that speed under 3, excellent. Make sure they could do that. What we should see in terms of like heart rate trends, of course, for that first push, kind of creeps up, base will kind of level out, all out will spike up, and then during the walk it should drop, and then it'll kind of repeat that process. And then as they fatigue, that base might not be enough to get the heart rate to drop, but at least it should flatten out before it goes back up during the all out. So just something to kind of be aware of, and give those like shout outs over the mic when it comes to heart rate response, especially during the walk recoveries. I know a lot of people don't like to see blue when they're on the treadmill, but honestly, that is so important because the analogy that I've heard that I really, really appreciate is the idea of a glass. So when you work, the push base all out, you're emptying out the glass. The walk recovery is your chance to refill it so that way you could pour out the same amount, or more opportunity to pour in more so you could pour out even more, ideally increase intensity. They had a 2-minute recovery after the 4th round. And then when we move into block 2, it's gonna be set up the same way. It's a shorter block though. We'll have 3 rounds now, and we are gonna lose the base. So 1-minute push, 1 minute all out, 1-minute walk recovery. Round 2, it's gonna be 45 seconds for each, and then round 3, 30 seconds of each. Because the efforts obviously are shorter, they should naturally be able to increase the intensity. So if they are continually add in at least 0.1 every round, they'll finish at about 0.5 to 0.6 over their base for their push, and then for the all outs, obviously seeing what they could do to increase it there as well. For the power walkers, it might be an increase to their incline by 0.5% every time, or increase to their walk speed, 0.1, 0.2. Bikes and striders, ideally, obviously gear, but RPM are interchangeable to increase intensity, because either way, if they increase either one of those, their watts are going to increase. And since it's a power day, it is all about that output. So be mindful of what their watts are, and are able to improve on that wattage by either increasing their RPMs, or if they go over 100 RPMs, maybe increase gear and maintain RPMs. Now, when we look at the weights floor side, there's 2 blocks. Block 1 is exclusively on the floor, and the goal here is to stay explosive on the 2nd and 4th movement. The 1st and 3rd are going to be regular tempo. Everything is going to be done left and right, then you move to the next exercise. So we're going to see a single arm low row from the bench. One hand's on the bench, both feet are on the floor with a split stance, driving that elbow back, 2 counts up, 2 counts down. That's going to then pair into a single arm dumbbell clean. It's only 4 reps, moderate to heavy weight. The goal is to be explosive. Then they will do a full step up to knee raise on one side for 8 reps, and then the other side. So they'll start with both feet on the ground, they step onto the bench, the other knee comes up, that's the leg that will then step down, and then they step off. Obviously, body weight's gonna be a great option, or once they step on, they can put the other foot on, then pick up the knee, and then come back down for a little bit more stability. And then the final power movement here is gonna be the single arm snatch. Big thing with this one, especially since a lot of times members just don't have that body awareness or that history when it comes to weightlifting. With the snatch, it's really high and tight. So the other analogy that I heard that really kind of resonated with me was like you're zipping up a jacket, but the zipper goes past your head. So you really want to try to pull that dumbbell up close and tight, and then control it on the way back down. They got 4 on each arm. A great option there, of course, would be like to kind of mimic the motion itself, would be like a deadlift upright row, deadlift high pull, and then finishes up the circuit with a stand-in high to low chop. So the dumbbell's gonna start over the shoulder, comes down to the hip as they rotate entire torso, pivot the back foot so the knee's protected as they explosively come down, controlled back up. Even though it doesn't call out the 5th movement of being explosive, naturally, high chops, high down like that, they should be quick on the way down and then controlled on the way up. They're going to do that for 15 minutes. They should probably get at least 3 rounds in, maybe 4. And if they do it right, they should probably need to take a rest after the clean and the snatch if they're going heavy and if they're going explosive. During that 2-minute setup, we're going to see dumbbell required over at the weight floor. You're going to do a single arm neutral grip thruster to rotation. So dumbbells at the shoulder, they drop all the way down. As they press, they rotate towards the side that doesn't have the dumbbell, and they drive that dumbbell up. They'll do 6 on the left, 6 on the right, and then they have a 150 meter all out row. The goal is to stay within 3 seconds of the previous time. So because of the natural tendency of the dumbbell exercise into the row, full thruster, the thrusters is like a full body movement. So legs, core, posterior chain from the shoulders and everything to help support posture, they're all going to get hit pretty hard, which is going to essentially take away some of their power when it comes to the all-out row. So that's why we're not looking to like match or beat, but rather just kind of stay within and kind of fight through that fatigue. With a 150 meter all-out row, you'll probably see like around 30 seconds or so. 10 out of 10 on the leg drive. This is an opportunity for also them to practice the 200 meter row form, where they try to keep the heels down, and it's more of like a half stroke in rather than a half slide in versus a full slide in. And they'll repeat this for the 6.5 minutes, most likely 2 good attempts, and that's probably about it. And then they finish with a 30-second all out. Because once again, when they finish that 150 meter all out row, they should probably need to catch their breath before they start a second round. And that's gonna be the 2G. When we look at the 3G, we're gonna see 1 block on the treadmill, 2 blocks on the weight floor, or on the rower, excuse me, and then 1 long block on the weight floor. This is also a unique one where the rowers will use a dumbbell for their row blocks. So if you do coach a 3G, that might be something that you want to mention in the lobby, that anyone who is starting on the rower, when they go in, grab a dumbbell that they could do for, the tricep, for the shoulder press, as well as a tricep extension, because we'll see a dumbbell tricep extension in block 2. When we look at the treads though, this is going to be block 1 from the 2G, exactly the same of increasing the push, the all out, push, base, all out, a minute each. The only difference is at the very end, instead of 1 minute all out, is a 30-second all out. So it is shorter, so they should be able to increase it no matter what. When we go to the rower, we'll see the single arm neutral grip thruster with rotation, 6 on the left, 6 on the right, but now we're gonna see a 30-second all out row. And the goal here for the time-based row is they wanna stay within 20 meters of the previous row distance. So they'll probably get like 150 to 180 the first time. And then so can they get like 130 to 160, et cetera, et cetera. 7 minutes here, so probably same thing, 2, maybe 3 rounds where they start the dumbbell exercise, but they don't have quite time to do the all-out row. They only have a minute to get set up for block 2, but block 2 is essentially like the row block from the 2G, but now they're gonna do an overhead tricep extension for 12 reps, pair that up with 150 meter all out. Now, because it's tricep extension and it's a controlled movement, 12 reps here, this is gonna be more of like an active recovery exercise leading into the row. So the goal here is to match or beat their time as opposed to stay within 3 seconds. They should be able to use whatever weight they did for the thruster for the tricep extension, mostly because it is with both arms. So just something to be aware of. They really shouldn't need to swap out weights, but if they need to, give them that opportunity to do so. They'll finish with a 30-second all out with the treads. Now, when we look at the weight floor, it's the weight floor block from the 2G, of course, just for 14.5 minutes. They will do an alternating single arm snatch for the final 30. So when the weight is on the floor, that's when they want to switch their hands. Ideally, people don't juggle the weight. So what I mean by that is if you are familiar with any type of functional training stuff like CrossFit, they'll, obviously when they're up, as they drop the weight, they might switch their hands and then pull it up. If you have members who are like confident with that kind of style, cool. But the last thing we want is dumbbells drop into the floor and roll around everywhere. So just, be mindful of that. That's gonna be the 3G. Once again, was Sunday, January 5th, repeats Thursday, January 23rd. Any feedback, let me know. Otherwise, coach it down.